Hi everybody, this is Andy Graham of the Herald Times Sports Department, here to present another Indiana University Athletic Hall of Famer. In this case, it's the great Anthony Thompson. And Anthony has a lot of great numbers to talk about in terms of his playing career. One that I remember is that when he came to Bloomington, the career career touchdown record for the football program was 30. When he left, it was 65 or 68 if you go by Big Ten numbers, because Big Ten stats count bowl performances. But, Bill Mallory's Hoosiers went to bowls pretty regularly back then, and Anthony was a big reason why. When people ask me, is there any signature game that you recall Anthony playing? And there's a lot of candidates in that regard, but one that always comes to mind for me, as I personally witnessed it, was up at Camp Randall Stadium in Wisconsin. As a senior, he ran 52 times for 377 yards and 4 touchdowns. The 377 was an NCAA single game record by a lot. And I can remember it was a 45-17 Indiana win, but even Wisconsin fans were applauding. It was a quintessential Anthony game, AT game, in the sense that he always seemed to get stronger as the game went along, and the defense would always wear down a bit, but never more so than that day. And that he went on to win the Big Ten Silver Football as the league MVP for the second straight year, becoming only the third guy in history to do that. The guy previously to do it was Archie Griffin, the great Ohio State quarterback. That senior year, he was the American Football Coaches Association National Player of the Year. Anthony Thompson was. He was the Walter Camp Player of the Year. But he lost out to Andre Ware, the Houston quarterback, for the Heisman by 4. I can't remember what the actual vote total was, but it was the 4th closest balloting in Heisman history. And frankly, if Indiana had won the bucket game that year, he probably would have won. Not only would Indiana have gone to another bowl, but I think Anthony would have certainly won the Heisman. And he did his best to win that game. Indiana was down, I think, a point or two, and Anthony didn't normally return kickoffs, but he went back to receive a Purdue kickoff, and he must have run about 200 yards on that return, because it was almost all sideline to sideline. It wasn't vertical north and south on the field. It was just avoiding tacklers, running over guys, and he got it all the way down into field goal position. But Indiana missed the field goal. And there was a Purdue defensive back whose name escapes me, but he jumped in front of the ABC TV cameras and said, "You ain't got no W, you ain't got no bowl, you ain't got no Heisman, you ain't got nothing." And the truth hurt, because all of that turned out to be true. But I go back to that Purdue game, his senior year, and I'll always remember this. Indiana had an outstanding freshman kicker named Scott Bunnell. And Scott went on to be an all Big Ten kicker, really good player. And he missed a chip shot field goal that would have won the game for Indiana. And obviously, as I said before, and as the Purdue defensive back said, there was a lot on the line. There was probably a bowl bid on the line, probably a Heisman Trophy on the line. And unfortunately, the kick went awry. And I will always remember this. The guy that I saw with his arm around Scott Bunnell on the sidelines, comforting him and building him up and supporting him after that, was Anthony Thompson. Probably the player who lost more that day than any other single player. The guy who had run the kickoff back to put Indiana in the field goal position, he was the guy that was supporting his teammate in a tough moment. And that's the kind of guy Anthony Thompson is, and that's just one of the reasons why he's a Hall of Famer.